If you were planning to build a solar-powered energy system, you probably have questions such as, how much solar power do I need to power, say, my refrigerator and some lights? Or maybe even the whole house? Or, what can I power with a 100-watt solar panel? In this video, you'll discover how you can find the answers. This is a simple kilowatt meter / energy usage monitor / electricity usage meter. It has a lot of names. It measures kilowatt hours of energy on a single 120 volt circuit. This is for the United States. There are equivalent meters available for other power standards around the world. It's easy to operate. Just plug this into the wall, and on the front, plug in the appliance that you want to measure. To make it easier to see, I've plugged this into an extension cord and then plugged in this guitar pedal to give us something to measure. The meter shows watts, amps, voltage, and more. What we want to know, though, is the kilowatt hours. Let's talk about watts and kilowatts. Exactly. A kilowatt is just 1,000 watts. Now, let's take this speaker and say it conveniently runs on exactly 1,000 watts, also known as 1 kilowatt. Now, if we took that speaker and ran it at 1 kilowatt for 1 hour, we would use 1 kilowatt hour of energy. So the unit of energy, known as a kilowatt hour, takes into account both the power and the time used. Now, in 2 hours, that same speaker running at 1 kilowatt is going to use 2 kilowatt hours. So this computer monitor conveniently works at exactly 100 watts, or 1/10 of a kilowatt. If it runs for 1 hour, we multiply the 1/10 of a kilowatt times the 1 hour, and we get 1/10 of a kilowatt hour. How long would it take this monitor to use 1 kilowatt hour? Well, it's 1/10 of a kilowatt, so it would take 10 hours. Back to our energy meter. It's only been running for a few minutes, but just as an example, you can see that we have used 7/1000ths of a kilowatt hour. Now, in the real world, you would put this on, say, your refrigerator, and we want to know how much power it uses in an average day. So you could leave the energy meter on for 24 hours. Or you could measure for, say, 7 days and then divide by 7 to get your daily average. You could also measure for a month or even longer. There are many different brands of these small kilowatt meters. Many of them cost less than $20. They're a good choice if you only want to measure 1 or 2 circuits. And they only work on 120 volts. They can't do 240 volt circuits. So let's take a look at the next level up of energy monitors. And a quick look over at Amazon, you can see a number of different energy monitors, and these all use the same system, which is using induction clamps. And just like the clamp on a multimeter, you open the clamp, stick the wire through, and through induction, it measures the current. This is the type of clamp that comes with an energy monitor. You hook that into the energy monitor. This end is the clamp. It goes around the wire. You simply put it around the wire and then clamp it down like that. Okay, I'm sorry for the vertical video here. This is probably about 5 years old. This is before I put my solar system in. I mounted this curb energy monitor with the clamps into my regular breaker panel in my house. And over here on the side is how you power the curb unit. The white hooks to your neutral, and the red and the orange respectively go to line 1 and line 2, which you just tack off of a couple of breakers. And you connect all the clamps to these little strips on the top of the unit, and all the clamps then go around the various circuits that you want to measure. Then, using a web browser, you go online and you can see a lot of information about all of the individual circuits. So before I purchased and installed any of my solar equipment, I monitored my house circuits for about 6 months, so I had a really good idea of how much energy I was using on the different circuits that I wanted to back up. After I installed my solar system, I moved all the clamps over and put them inside of the transfer switch. There's another video on this, but the transfer switch allows me to switch my circuits that I want to back up between solar and the grid. Anyway, each one of these circuits now has a clamp on it on the inside, and I went down below here and put the curb unit into this box. Okay, and this is the curb control unit. Right up here at the very top of it is where all of the clamps hook in. And on the side here is the power. And this is an Ethernet cable that allows it to talk to the internet. Inside of the transfer switch, you can see the individual clamps on each circuit. And I also extended some cable into the next room where the solar equipment is, and into this breaker box, which not only feeds the transfer switch, but also powers some local circuits in this room, as well as my electric car charger. And here's the cover off so you can see the clamps on each circuit. Okay, we're inside of the curb app, and we're looking at the last 3 hours. And you can see there's almost nothing happening here. We're only using 14 watts. Here we used 40 watts for a few minutes. Must have plugged in something. We can see it over the last 12 hours, though it's a little bit different. Now, this is my car charger running from this morning at 9:30 until about 1:20. And we'll look at the kilowatt hours for that in a minute. Down here is the dining room, which is that ran from maybe about 2:40 till about 5:10, so a couple of hours there. This little orange area is 50 watts and even less sometimes. Those are those office outlets, and those are really just computer equipment, a few battery chargers and things that are in here. And then down here, this little green area is the lights in the office. We can keep going out and see this over different time periods all the way to all, which, there's a lot of information in here, but it goes way back into October or so of 2017. All right, so we'll come back here. And actually, we'll look at the daily again. Well, let's see this in a different format. This is the car charger today and the dining room today, but that's over a period of time and how many watts it's pulling. How many kilowatt hours did it use? And we'll see this in a different format. Right here, this is breaking it into each hour of the day. I don't want to see that. I want to see what the whole day was. So if I go to the week of kilowatt hours, it breaks it. These columns are each a different day. So here we can go back and see on this particular day, the car charger was about 12 kilowatt hours. And down here, the office outlets ran about 1 kilowatt hour. And it's different for each day, but you can see now this is the different colors tell me what different things that are going on. This is the dining room AC, did 2.5 kilowatt hours. Today, it did about the same, about 2.5 kilowatt hours, and only did about 7 kilowatt hours on the car charger. Let's look at, come up here, and now we're going to look at the individual circuits. I don't really use any of the other stuff down here, or this where you can see your dollar amounts and all, because this is on my solar stuff only now. I only have the clamps on things that are being powered by solar energy. My power bill from the utility company is less than $100 now. So I really don't care to look at the individual circuits. I could have hooked up another system for that, but I just moved the curb system over from the grid to just my solar circuits. And let's go down here and look at the individual circuits. And each one of these matches up to a circuit in either the transfer switch or down here, the office outlets and the Zen car, my car charger, are coming off of the sub panel that you saw in the solar room. So before you start building a solar energy system, it's important to measure the kilowatt hours that you're using on the circuits that you want to put on solar. Now, if it's only a circuit or two, you may be able to use one of these smaller energy meters that are out there. If you're putting together a larger solar system, you may want to use an energy monitor that gives you multiple clamps and shows you multiple circuits. This is the Curb website, now being sold by a company called Elevation. I don't recommend this at this point, and I'll show you why. I'm going to go down here. This is the unit, the Curb Pro that I bought. And when you click purchase, you can't purchase it. You have to fill out a form and they get back with you and you deal with the salesman. I don't particularly care for that. And over here on Amazon, there are a number of other energy monitors available right now. This is from Emporia Energy. It's pretty highly rated. It comes in a couple of different configurations. This one, for $109, you get 8 clamps over here, and plus the 2 main ones that go across your mains. If you need more, you can get 16. That's only $149. It's really not bad. We've got, hang on a second, we get down here. They've got apps for your phone. Seem to have a lot of good support. You hook it up the same way. There's your main clamps and your individual clamps on the circuits. These are nice the way you have them. They just plug in with these little mini jacks. That's really cool. I had to wire mine. You also can get these smart plugs that work with the app, and this allows you to turn things on and off remotely over the internet. And it seems to have really good ratings here also. I don't own one of these, and I've never used one, so I don't have any firsthand experience with it. If you own an Emporia or have used it, please leave a comment. Let everybody know what you think, good or bad. I'll leave links down below for this and one of the kilowatt type under $20 meters. I hope you find this video useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.